What would you do if you were seated on a luxurious plane, surrounded by wealthy passengers sipping champagne under the glow of golden lights? The soft leather seats cradling you like a costly embrace, only for a flight attendant to suddenly point at you, her voice sharp as a blade, demanding you leave your seat because she deems you unworthy of the space. And when you refuse, she doesn't just humiliate you in front of dozens of prying eyes, but slaps you hard across the face, the sound reverberating through the cabin, leaving everyone stunned in horror. That's the moment Elise Harper faced. A black woman with a quiet calm and a subtle smile, stepping onto a private jet no one knew she owned. But the story doesn't end with humiliation. A terrifying secret is about to explode, flipping everything upside down and making the arrogant accuser pay a steeper price than she could ever imagine. Are you ready to witness this drama unfold? Elise Harper steps into the cabin, her silent confidence a soft breeze in the lavish space. She doesn't flaunt, doesn't crave attention. But today, her kindness and resolve will be tested by Vanessa Brooks, the lead flight attendant with icy eyes and a forced, fake smile. What happens when a prejudiced bully crosses a woman who seems harmless but holds power enough to turn the skies upside down? Don't look away. This twist will keep you on the edge of your seat. The afternoon sun glints off the sleek private jet, a symbol of wealth and power perched proudly on the tarmac. Inside the cabin is a world apart. Plush leather seats like velvet, warm golden light from gilded accents, and soft ambient music creating an atmosphere akin to a palace in the sky. Passengers move with the ease of those accustomed to luxury, their designer luggage rolling smoothly behind them as the attentive crew offers champagne in sparkling crystal flutes. Amid this scene steps Elise Harper, a woman in her late 30s, dressed in a tailored navy blazer and slacks, her dark hair neatly tied back, walking with an unassuming calm. She doesn't need eyes on her, doesn't crave praise, yet her presence draws subtle glances, not for flashiness, but for an inexplicable pull. Elise settles into her seat, tucking a sleek leather briefcase beneath it, her gaze briefly sweeping the cabin like a silent observer. She's en route to a critical meeting to expand her empire, but no one aboard knows that yet, and she prefers it that way, at least for now. Vanessa Brooks, the lead flight attendant, stands near the entrance, her crisp navy uniform hugging her frame, hair pinned up without a strand out of place, exuding absolute control. To Vanessa, this isn't just a job. It's a stage where she reigns with unwavering authority. She greets passengers with a practiced smile, but its warmth varies, genuine for the elderly Dawson couple as they board with a knitting bag and folded newspaper, noticeably cooler when Elise appears. "Welcome aboard," Vanessa says to Elise, her tone flat and emotionless, her eyes scanning her like an uninvited guest. Elise nods politely, unbothered by the lack of friendliness, but she clocks the difference. How Vanessa beams at Mr. Dawson, asking about his trip, then turns to her with a probing, chilly stare. Vanessa prides herself on reading people, and in her eyes, Elise doesn't fit this space. Not flashy enough, not haughty enough. As Vanessa moves through the cabin, ensuring perfection, she pauses near Elise, eyeing her simple briefcase with a subtle smirk. Who does she think she is? Vanessa mutters inwardly, and from that moment, an unspoken plan begins to form in her mind. The passengers settle in, soft murmurs mingling with the clink of glasses in the opulent space. Mr. Dawson unfolds his newspaper, Mrs. Dawson starts knitting, and a nosy socialite nearby leans over, curiously eyeing everyone. Vanessa glides through, ensuring all is flawless, her smile brightening as she serves the Dawsons. "Anything I can get you before takeoff?" Mrs. Dawson shakes her head, engrossed in her stitches, while Mr. Dawson points to his coffee, satisfied. But as Vanessa passes Elise, her demeanor shifts. No offer, no warmth, Just a quick, suspicious glance at Elise's briefcase before moving on. Elise notices the coldness but doesn't react, silently watching Vanessa with a sharp gaze, as if cataloging every detail. The socialite whispers loudly to her companion. She doesn't seem to like that woman, does she? The other shrugs. Probably a seating mix-up. But Vanessa's indifference isn't the end. She's decided Elise doesn't belong, and she'll prove it, no matter the cost. Vanessa returns, her steps brisk yet deliberate, eyes narrowing as she sees Elise settled comfortably in her seat. She stops in front of her, hands on hips, a forced smile barely masking her contempt. "Excuse me, ma'am," Vanessa says, her voice polite but cutting like a knife. "I think you're in the wrong section." Elise looks up, her expression calm but unshaken. "I believe this is my seat," she replies, her tone even, devoid of challenge yet brimming with confidence. Vanessa's lip curls, her voice hardening. "I'm afraid not. This area is reserved for special passengers, and I don't think you're one of them." Her words carry loud enough for nearby passengers to turn their heads. The socialite perks up, eyes gleaming with drama, while a friendly businessman across the aisle frowns, displeased with Vanessa's tone. Elise remains steady, hands resting lightly on her lap, responding, "You might want to check the passenger list before assuming." Vanessa lets out a sharp laugh, irritation flashing in her eyes. "I don't need to check. I know who belongs here and who doesn't." The cabin's air tightens like a coiled spring, whispers spreading, and Vanessa, with her arrogance growing bolder, has no idea she's just lit the fuse to a storm about to engulf her. Vanessa crosses her arms, standing firm before Elise, her voice now dripping with hostility. "If you won't move to the back of the plane, I'll call security." The threat rings clear, silencing the cabin, all eyes locking onto Elise. The socialite covers her mouth, whispering, "Oh my, she's about to get kicked out." The businessman leans forward, muttering, "This isn't right." But Elise doesn't waver. She tilts her head slightly, her piercing gaze fixed on Vanessa. "Call whoever you want, but I'm not moving." Her calm is like a smoldering flame, stoking Vanessa's fury. She snaps at Grace, the young junior attendant nearby. "Grace, get her to the back now." Grace, wide-eyed and nervous, steps forward hesitantly, her trembling hands clutching the passenger list. "Maybe we should check," she stammers, but Vanessa barks. "No! Do as I say." Elise offers a faint smile, her voice soft yet laced with meaning. "You might want to think carefully before you act." Vanessa dismisses it, smirking. "I know exactly what I'm doing. Get up." But she doesn't realize that in mere minutes, a shattering truth will make her wish she'd never spoken. The cabin now feels suffocating like an arena, with all eyes on Elise Harper and Vanessa Brooks, two women at opposite ends of the spectrum. Vanessa, arms crossed tightly and eyes blazing with anger, snaps. "I've given you a chance, but clearly you don't know your place. Grace, call security now." Grace stands frozen, her face pale, hands trembling as she clutches the passenger list like a fragile shield. "But, Vanessa, maybe we should—" She stutters faintly, but Vanessa whirls on her, eyes like daggers. "I said now! She doesn't belong here!" Elise remains seated, hands resting lightly on her lap, her gaze unwavering and sharp enough to pierce Vanessa's core. "You're making a big mistake," Elise says, her voice low but resonant with authority, a final warning. Vanessa scoffs, her voice shrill. "Mistake? You're the mistake for stepping onto this plane?" The socialite whispers loudly, "I bet she's out of here soon." The businessman shakes his head, murmuring, "This flight attendant's gone too far." The tension is a taut wire ready to snap, and Vanessa doesn't see she's just dug herself a grave with no way out. Footsteps echo from the rear as two security guards enter, tall figures in crisp black uniforms, their faces emotionless. Vanessa points at Elise, her voice triumphant. "Take her out of here now! I won't have this kind disrupting the flight!" The passengers hold their breath, eyes flickering between worry and curiosity. Mr. Dawson stops reading, looking up with displeasure, while Mrs. Dawson pauses her knitting, her hands trembling as she sets the needles down. But Elise doesn't flinch. She rises slowly, standing slightly taller than Vanessa, her calm a steadfast mountain amidst the storm. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Elise asks, her voice soft yet carrying the weight of a verdict. Vanessa laughs, dripping with sarcasm. "Sure? I've never been surer." "Get out!" One guard steps forward, reaching for Elise's arm, but she raises a hand, her icy glare stopping him cold. "Don't touch me," she says, just loud enough for all to hear. Vanessa shrieks, "Who do you think you are to give orders here?" But Elise's answer is about to shake the entire plane. Elise calmly pulls a card from her blazer pocket, holding it up before Vanessa and the guards. The cabin's golden light catches it, highlighting the bold text. Elise Harper, CEO, Horizon Airlines. A deathly silence engulfs the plane. Vanessa's jaw drops, her eyes widening in disbelief, her arms falling limp as if drained of strength. The guards step back instantly, one stammering. "Miss Harper, we didn't know." The socialite gasps, "Oh my God, she owns this airline?" The businessman nods, whispering, "I knew she wasn't ordinary." Mr. and Mrs. Dawson exchange stunned, admiring glances. Elise turns to Vanessa, her eyes no longer just calm but burning with quiet fire. "I'm Elise Harper, owner of this plane and all of Horizon Airlines. You just ordered security to remove me from my own property. Who do you think you are?" Vanessa stumbles back, her face ashen, sweat beading on her forehead. I didn't know. I'm sorry." She stutters, but Elise cuts her off. "Sorry isn't enough. You humiliated me because of your prejudice, and now you'll pay for it." Vanessa trembles, grasping for excuses. "I didn't mean to. I just thought you weren't." But Elise doesn't let her finish. She turns to Grace, her voice gentle yet commanding. "Grace, bring me the passenger list." Grace hurries forward, hands still shaking but eyes alight with relief, handing it over. Elise scans it, pointing to her name with VIP owner in clear print. "See this?" Elise says, her tone cutting like a blade. "You could have avoided this if you'd checked, but you chose to judge me by my skin and appearance." Vanessa bows her head, unable to meet Elise's gaze, her voice faint. I didn't know who you were." Elise steps closer, her eyes locking onto Vanessa. "You didn't need to know who I am to treat me like a person. But now it's too late." The passengers murmur, some nodding in agreement, while the socialite whispers, "She's done for." The plane's engines hum steadily, but no one notices. All are captivated by Elise's presence. Elise turns to the guards, her voice cold but authoritative. "Escort her off the plane. I don't want someone like this serving on my flight." The guards nod, moving toward Vanessa, who's now a broken shell. "No, please, Miss Harper," Vanessa wails, tears streaming down the face once full of arrogance. "I need this job. I didn't mean it." But Elise stands firm. "You meant it when you treated me like trash because you thought I didn't belong." Actions have consequences, and these are yours. The passengers watch in silence as Vanessa is led away, her footsteps feeble on the cabin floor, a stark contrast to her earlier swagger. Grace stands aside, her eyes a mix of nerves and awe. The businessman claps lightly, murmuring, "She's incredible." Mr. Dawson folds his paper, nodding, "Justice served." But the story isn't over. A bigger secret about Vanessa is about to surface, stunning everyone further. As Vanessa is escorted out, Elise faces the cabin, her voice ringing with strength. "I apologize for what you all just witnessed. This isn't the standard Horizon Airlines upholds." She pauses, her gaze sweeping across every face, from the gaping socialite to the approving Dawsons. "I'm not just the owner of this airline," Elise continues. I'm someone who's been treated like I don't exist because of my skin. Today I stand here to say that has to stop. Suddenly, Grace steps forward, her voice shaky. Miss Harper, I have to tell you. Vanessa was sued 2 years ago for discriminating against another passenger. She hid it to keep her job. The cabin erupts in gasps, the socialite exclaiming, What? Elise turns to Grace, nodding. Thank you, Grace. That explains a lot. She glances toward the door where Vanessa vanished. She's not just losing her job. She'll face the law for her actions. The plane jolts slightly as it prepares for takeoff again, but the atmosphere has shifted, tension replaced by admiration. Elise sits, her eyes drifting to the window where the runway blurs in the sunset. She hasn't just defended herself, she sent a powerful message to everyone aboard. The passengers begin clapping, Mr. Dawson rising to shout, Ms. Harper, you're phenomenal! The socialite nods. I'm telling everyone about this. Elise offers a faint smile, turning to Grace. Grace, I want you to take Vanessa's role from now on. You showed integrity today. Grace blushes, stammering, Thank you, ma'am, I don't know what to say. Elise nods. Just do well, that's enough. The plane lifts off, engines roaring like a declaration. Justice has prevailed, and Elise Harper isn't just a name, but a symbol of change. The plane now glides smoothly through the sky, the fiery sunset streaming through the windows, casting a quiet glow on Elise Harper's calm face like a silent halo. The engines hum softly, but inside the cabin, the mood has transformed. Earlier chaos giving way to reverence and warmth. The passengers are still reeling from what they've seen. Vanessa Brooks, once a domineering figure strutting through the aisle, has been led away in disgrace, hands cuffed behind her, her face streaked with tears and fear. Elise sits there, hands resting lightly on her seat, her gaze fixed on the distant sky. But her mind isn't just on this personal victory. She knows today's story isn't hers alone. It's for the millions who've been judged and belittled for how they look. The socialite, no longer whispering snide remarks, rises from her seat, her voice trembling. Ms. Harper, I've never seen anyone handle something like that. You're a true hero. Elise turns, smiling faintly. Thank you, but I'm no hero. I'm just someone who won't bow to wrong. Mr. Dawson folds his newspaper, standing to clap, his voice booming. Ms. Harper's right. We need more people like her. Mrs. Dawson stops knitting, her eyes glistening as she looks at Elise. You've taught us all a lesson today. Applause spreads through the cabin, from the friendly businessman to passengers once silent, now united in admiration. Grace, newly promoted, stands near the galley, clutching her tray tightly, her eyes shining with gratitude. Elise rises, raising a hand for quiet, her voice clear and emotional. I don't want your applause for me. I want you to remember that every person on this plane and out there deserves respect, not because of who they are, but because they're human. She pauses, eyes meeting each face. Vanessa didn't just humiliate me. She humiliated the standard I've built for Horizon Airlines, and I won't let that happen again. The plane tilts gently as it prepares to land, but Elise's story doesn't end here. As the door opens on the tarmac, a sleek black SUV waits, two sharply dressed assistants stepping out to greet Elise with utmost respect. Ms. Harper, everything's ready for your meeting, one says, his tone steady. Elise nods, stepping off the plane, the day's last light framing her like an emblem of strength and dignity. But before leaving, she turns back to the cabin one last time, her voice carrying over the speakers. Thank you for being here today. If anyone's ever made you feel small, remember your worth isn't in how they see you, it's in how you stand up. The passengers applaud again, the sound following her out as the SUV whisks her away. But this drama doesn't stop at the plane. A passenger's phone video goes viral, turning Elise into a global symbol of justice within hours. Days later, in a live TV interview, Elise sits across from a host, studio lights illuminating her face, yet her calm remains unshaken. "Ms. Harper," the host asks, voice brimming with curiosity, "your stories inspired millions. What message do you want to send?" Elise looks straight into the camera, her voice clear and powerful. "Respect isn't something you earn, it's a right. I didn't stand up that day to prove who I am, but to prove no one can trample someone's dignity because of their prejudice." She pauses, her gaze softening. "To those facing injustice without a voice, I say, strength comes from within. Even when you feel invisible, know your worth. You don't need power or fame to demand fairness. Just stand firm in who you are." The host nods, visibly moved. "You've changed how people see aviation." Elise smiles. "I hope I've changed how people see each other." Conclusion and message. The plane continues its journey beneath a vast blue sky, but Elise Harper's story soars far beyond the clouds. Vanessa Brooks doesn't just lose her job, she faces charges for assault and a resurfaced lawsuit from her past, a costly lesson in the price of prejudice. Horizon Airlines, under Elise's leadership, announces new policies: mandatory anti-discrimination training for all staff and a guarantee of equal treatment for every passenger, regardless of background. The viral video hits millions of views, sparking global debates on dignity and justice. Elise, once a humiliated woman, becomes a beacon for those dismissed. Final message. Don't let anyone make you feel unworthy. Stand up, speak out, and fight. Because when you do, the world stands with you. Hit subscribe, share this story, and comment. What would you do if you were Elise? As the plane fades into the horizon, Elise knows true victory isn't in defeating Vanessa. It's in inspiring a world to rise against injustice.